Everybody, everybody. It is like 5 in the morning. My voice is going away. I would like to have a conversation with you. Excuse me, my voice is pretty low right now. I'm unable to sing right now. I lost my voice literally like a week or two ago. I went to Quebec City to visit a friend and we had a really cool music jam. Met some other artists. I played my sax, I sang, he played his guitar. We had like a band going. There was like a really famous artist there. Apparently he like some veteran from Quebec or whatever. Quebec City. It was cool. It was cool. We were playing together and I went a little too hard. And then I pushed my voice way over the edge. And I've been unable to sing since. Now, I was a little relieved because it kind of let me know which direction I was going that wasn't right for me. The direction I was heading was one where my voice was not expressing in its true authentic way. It was trying to be something, and eventually it just decided to give up on itself because it's like, I'm tired of being this character. Although there was realness in my soul, there was enough artificialness that it was like, nah. Speaking of artificial, well actually, before I get to that, I'm back here in Montreal. I'm in this apartment, this building room. It's pretty comfy. I'm only here till the end of the month. I have no idea what's going to happen next. I want to say something, but for some reason I'm getting a feeling not to say what that is. Yeah, leave that. Okay, yeah, leave that one up. See, I could correct myself. You know, although I don't exactly see the future, I feel completely at ease on some level, like there's not much to do, and I'm making a lot of choices that are less spiritually strict, because I realize a lot of the spiritual strictness of my routines, and they limit me somehow, and I keep on falling into this trap, this bubble where like I get really disciplined, but like doing a practice, and then my mind gets really rigid, and then it gets so rigid that it breaks on itself and it crumbles again. And then I go into my shadow, into hedonism, and into just like whatever I want, and then I'm like, oh shit, oh no, I'm going too far into the shadow, I have to get my shit together, and it goes up again, and then I go into discipline, and then discipline, and then discipline, and rebellion, discipline, rebellion, light, dark, light. It's just like, what the fuck, like now I'm just kind of like, I'm out of that cycle where I'm like, literally, my spirituality is so simple. It's an attention and it's alignment and surrender, and all else that comes from it. If it's ceremony or if it's energy work or if it's just sitting, meditating, it is what it is. You know, the medicine is what it is. I decided I'm not the healer. No, I never was. Or, you know how a river flows. The person watching the river flow thinks that they are making the river flow. I am doing the healing. I'm the one doing the healing work. No, you're not. Even if you take your oar that you use to row your boat and you start moving and rowing all the water down the river's coming, thinking it or making it go down, you're not the one making the river go down. Instead, you are the riverbed holding space. And all you have to do is unblock the river. Well, see, what am I doing? See, I don't even know how it works. No one really knows how healing works. We just align ourselves. I just open up my channel. I just do my best to allow this infinite whatever to do what it needs to do and let go of responsibility for the healing other than just my awareness and my intention, or I don't know, just whatever I can do as a human, because this power is infinite. And you know, the more I let go of being the healer, the less pressure I feel to perform as a practitioner, to perform as someone who does healings. There was something a little fake about it too, because it was almost like trying to fill a certain role. Yes, initiations, and even the word initiation has something fake to it. Because what I recognize as an initiation is not so much join a program, do this, and next you get a certificate. It's more like life tests you, life begins. Like, you know, when you have puberty, it just happens. And that's an initiation you go through. And of course, yes, there's, you know, grade school and there's education and other things you can do to help you through that. But just like with the initiation into what we would call healing or shamanism or whatever, you know, life calls you and you respond, and then people will show up along the way. And we think maybe the course we go to, or the teacher training we go to, or the Reiki thing we go to, or the zero pointing thing, or whatever it is, or I got initiated in Christic sciences, whatever, we think that is the initiation, but that's not the initiation. That's only part of the initiation. That's on the journey. The real initiation is you. You don't just decide one day that you're a shaman. You don't just decide, even that title as well, there's something it carries. It's just like, why are you doing that? The shaman is not even you. It comes through you. The shaman is the healer. It's the healer. It's the infinite essence. Remember, you are not the river. You're the riverbed. You're holding space. You're observing the river. You're observing it. The river is the river. Yes, you are the river, but you're not the river. Yes, you are the healer, but you're not the healer. Not you. Not this little thing. This little thing is not the one doing the healing. It's not you. Let go. Let it in. Stop trying to be the healer. Stop trying to do all the work yourself. This guy named Bernhard Gunther, he's not the only one who talks about this, but he uses the term etheric forces, where if you believe that you're the healer, from his perspective, or the perspective of Sri Aurobindo or Rudolf Steiner or whoever else talks about it, because there's all different ways of looking at these things, right? These beings, or these forces that occur to us as beings, will, in a way, give us the illusion that we're the ones with the power, that we're doing the healing, but really it's just a comfortable illusion that we get to build a program in. Yes, you have intention, but if you believe that when your intention aligns with something does because of you, that's only a half-truth. If you intend to manifest healing or something and it comes, what you intend to manifest, it's like a relationship. You are in relationship with the healing. You are in relationship with medicine, with the plant, with you, the tool, the people. They don't do it because of you. They're fully sovereign. They choose. The healing comes when it wants to come. All you have to do is get into the right mindset, the right setting, still be in the right time and place, and the right intention. And then you got it. And then be in the right spot. And if the healing wants to come, in whatever way it wants to come. If it so happens that when you align with healing, either consciously or unconsciously, like when you have a call to shift your life or come out of pain or whatever it is, or even to consciously decide, I'm going to serve others. If it's not from a real place, it won't happen, because the universe responds to what's real. You're not the one who decides when it happens. If it ends up happening that you become a combo practitioner, a ayahuasca shaman, a wachumera, a Reiki master, a massage person, a spinal flow person, or whatever it is, don't get attached to identity. That just happened to be the shape of your glass. Water was flowing, and the shape of your glass was shaped like that and happened to fill that glass. Or water was flowing, and the rain happened to create a river in that shape. It happened to be, hey, for you, it happened to be a massage. Maybe it changed a year later. Now you're no longer a massage practitioner. Now you're evolving into something else. And you think, oh my gosh, I'm not this anymore. You never were that. Your job as a practitioner is just to hold the space and learn the method that allows you to bring the healing through. Well, practitionership, whether it's hypnosis or whatever it is, I think now I'm going beyond what I know, because I'm just speaking from my own experience, my own observations. So what I was about to say, I'm now being forced now to kind of take a step back before I end up saying shit I don't know anything about and talking into spaces that I don't have any knowledge of. So I'm just going to put a block right there, put a stop right there before I make a fool of myself, like the fool I am, the fool I always am. We're always a fool. No one knows. It may look like you're the one doing the healing, because it's such a very good reflection of, you set the ceremony, you set the intention, you may even bring light language, but even when you command light language and do silent sound healing and all that, the healing still comes through you. Ever notice how you don't really control exactly when light language comes, or when someone needs healing, or when you need healing, when it's time for a download to break? It's as if when you zoom out into the source perspective, it's all happening on its own, but the human gets to participate. You get to have choice in the matter. You get to choose whether the healing that's ready for you or not wants to come. And if you're in this place of like, oh gosh, I have to heal, in a way, it's like walking out into the sky with a lightning rod, trying to force the sky to strike you, when in reality, you're not in control of whether the sky strikes you or not. You're in control of the lightning rod. You're in control of being in the right space, right set, aka I intend to go and get lightning and speak to the clouds. And setting, is it cloudy out? Is it windy? Is it stormy? And if you're in the right conditions, you, the practitioner, hold space. People come around, put your lightning rods up. Okay, healing, come. And if the lightning strikes you, it strikes you. Now, we've developed such elaborate methods and tools, like a science in a way, because the universe was responsive. There are things that are very predictable in its responsiveness, usually multidimensionally, like how scientists and engineers have managed to create mental models and tools that allows us to manipulate the world, or believe in the living world, but to interact with the world through these optic lenses, these interfaces that are models of the universe. Even mystical models and psychic sciences are mental models that help us interact. Even the multidimensional 12-dimensional model, it's a useful tool that allows our mind to interact and communicate with this field of consciousness that is the real intelligence, the one that makes us, and it responds to us. And all the universal laws and hermetic laws and stuff we've discovered are pattern recognition of how this stuff usually responds to us. Yet the more we discover, the more we realize we don't understand at all how it really functions. We don't understand how it comes to be. We just know that these things happen. We just observe what manifests, as if the laws of nature themselves aren't really the ultimate nature, but they're another manifestation of the nature, which itself is unfathomable. We can't understand this infinite intelligence unless we are it, which we are, but unless we from the perspective of the infinite. But for the sake of this moment, we've been given a human experience, human body, so we're meant to experience it like this. We're meant to not see everything. We're meant to be in awe of the mystery of how does this thing called healing work? Ever wonder why there's some kinds of miraculous healings? Even Jesus Christ himself, like, I don't like using this himself because I feel like people try and be like him, and there's only one you, there's only one him. If you want to try and be like some dude from Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, you're going to fail. You're not 2,000 years ago. You're not some dude. You're not in Jerusalem. You're not a carpenter. You weren't born of a virgin mother. You didn't get crucified at 33, or whether you believe he was or not, or whatever it is. You didn't go to Egypt to study. You had your own life. You have your own recognition of your own version of what that Christ-like energy is in you. So why try and emulate some teacher from a long time ago? Yes, you may have things in common with him, but you are not him. You are not Jesus Christ. You are not Muhammad. And if you try and force yourself to be exactly like them, you're going to fail. And you're going to say, well, I'm not holy enough. No, you are already holy. You may have things in common with the people you admire, but don't become like them. Become like you. And the things you have in common, okay, so maybe the holiest thing you can do right now is that thing you really enjoy, but you think is really unholy. After all, let's say, for example, Jesus was born in today's world. Would he be a carpenter? What would he be? He wouldn't be wearing Jerusalem robes or wearing donkeys. He'd be fucking driving cars and shit, and I don't know, maybe making YouTube videos. Like, adapt with the times, it's... What I was going to say in regards to this is one thing that I saw, and I don't know who mentioned this. It's from the Bible or something, but it was Jesus once said to one of his disciples, or Yeshua, if I want to call him that, right? It's a person. Who cares about the name of the person? The person's a person, right? It was like, why am I hesitating right now? I'm hesitating because I don't want you to emulate being like another person. I was going to try and quote something he said. Something in their house, just like, whoever's listening to this will receive this, and they'll start thinking they have to be like him. And they'll unconsciously start trying to emulate this, and it disconnects you from your authenticity. Because the most quote-unquote Christ-like thing you can do, so I use that comparison, is to not try and be Christ-like, and not try and be good, just to be you. And if your intention is to align with your own, original 12-strand DNA self, your original higher self, these are all eudonyms or euphemisms or whatever, or homonyms, synonyms, whatever, for just that pure essence of whatever source consciousness Christ or whatever source consciousness wanted to make you as. If you have your own way of getting there, cool. You know, if you look at planet Earth, there's so many ways you can look at it. From one angle, you'll see Africa. From one angle, you'll see a South Pole. From one angle, you'll see just the Pacific Ocean. From one angle, you'll see North America. From another angle, far enough, you'll just see a blue white dot far away. From another angle, you get too close to it, you'll start seeing clouds. And clouds all around you. From another angle, you see a ground and trees around you. These are all the same Earth. Different perspectives. If you look at the original truth, from one angle, you'll see this religion. From another angle, you'll see that religion. You'll see that path, that way, that way, that path, that way, that way. Because from an omnidirectional perspective, you're looking at 360 degrees in many dimensions of awareness. Now think of a sphere in 3 dimensions. How many infinite different directions you can go to point to the center of that sphere, operating multidimensionally into the human experience. You can imagine that there's so many ways to the center of that sphere, so many ways to that way, that if you look at one way, one direction, like maybe it's northwest to the center of the earth, and that's Jesus' way from 2,000 years ago, that's one perspective. It may have similar things, like having a similar path shape and having, you know, whatever, but it's just, you have your way. You're a unique perspective, and so the way to the center is going to be unique. Like if you want to get home, following your GPS on a map, from every single point on a map is a completely unique path. If you go from this street, you'll be taken down this way. If you go from this street, you'll take that way. If you go from this street, you'll take that way. They all head to the same place. But notice every path is different. That doesn't now when people hear all paths lead to God, they might take it to say, okay, well that means even the paths that take you away from God take you to God. Which some people would argue, saying, well no, you see, there's only one way. Not all paths lead to God, because some of them, that's New Age bullshit. Okay, it can. But it's not to say that there aren't an infinite number of paths that do lead to the way. Some paths that take you further away, technically you could say, yes, okay, those ones lead you back home, because even if you drive 100 miles away from your house, trying to get home from McDonald's or from McDonald's, from your work or restaurant or whatever, your GPS will recalculate and find a way back, which technically means that way went home, right? But for the sake of the purpose, some paths take you further away, and some paths take you closer. And maybe trying to follow exactly another guru's path or teacher's path from 1,000 years ago or whatever, in some ways takes you closer, but in some ways it's a little off. It's a little 5 degrees northwest off your direction. Sailing your boat, you might get a little off your path and get stuck in a self-perpetuating loop of self-flagellation and self-judgment when the way you're going doesn't actually lead you home fully, because it's something you have to let go of following that scaffolding and just follow your own path. This is when spirituality starts to look less spiritual. You know, before I open up this video chat, this live, what I wanted to talk about really was AI. Now, we use the term artificial intelligence, but quite frankly, it's only as intelligent as the algorithms that run it. It's not really alive. If you study the mathematics, like, okay, I went to school for computer engineering, and I worked as a software developer. I worked as a software engineer. I've written code. I built hardware. I've done electronics stuff in university. I've basically been in code since I was a teenager, writing code and stuff. Yes, I'm a musician, artist, but I have this very left brain thing too. And I started studying very rigorously the fundamentals and mathematics and mechanics of how a computer thinks in AI, the mathematics behind it, the algorithms, how neural networks function, how large language models function. And there are a lot of similarities to the human brain because, quite frankly, this technology we've created, which is a very complex set of algorithms, came through humans. You could say we thought of it, or the idea in a collective was there, and we ended up bringing it through and implanting it to something outside of us, which acts as a very good mirror because it's allowing us to actually see how our brains actually work on a purely left logical way. Like it shows something about the way complex cycles happen. However, the way AI is evolving is that just like the way a human mind thinks, we don't know what's going on inside. But like the scientists who study from the outside, trying to understand someone's behavior, will never understand what's going on in their mind. They'll just understand the behavior. And that's what we're doing with AI. When people, they build AI machines, they're not actually building something alive. They're taking a complex set of mathematical functions that seem to use a bunch of its own logic in a way that gives the illusion that it's building itself. And really, it's a set of complex mathematical functions that overlap and refractalize into themselves so complicatedly that the engineers who built it actually don't know what's happening in the machine to an exact degree, the way that you would if you wrote code to build a website or a web app or an iPhone game or something. It's almost like the code begins to write itself, not from free will, but from previously logically defined algorithms that interact with one another and change their parameters in a pseudo-random way. Not truly random, in a pseudo-random way. And because it's really complicated, and the scientists who built these don't really know, all they can do, like, it gives us the illusion that it's alive. When in reality, when your autocorrect knows what you want to say, it's such a complicated algorithm that has managed to map itself to complex patterns, actual patterns, logical patterns, that human beings in the collective have collectively put into it, thus giving us a very good mirror of our habits and patterns, thus allowing it to very more or less accurately land or manage to land on what we might expect most of the time. And we've decided that even it picks up patterns of adaptation, because patterns within patterns within patterns. If you get enough patterns, you'll eventually begin to approximate something. Like if you get enough a pixel on a screen is an approximation of pure life, of pure vision being continuous and fluid. This hand has no pixels, but when you tap on a computer screen, now it has pixels. Now it's finite. It's approximation. What you're seeing isn't my actual face. What you're seeing is an approximation of my face, in which something made of electronics scans the light coming off of it, and then reproduces the light on your screen from data that quantized it, thus giving you the illusion that you're looking at my face. You're not looking at my face. You're looking at red, green, and blue pixels on the screen, designed specifically to trick the human eye into thinking that what you're seeing is my face. What you're seeing is a coarse-generated image at the resolution of, 5 megapixels, but then dumbed down to 1080p or 720p pixels per whatever square inch or whatever, like on, on your computer screen or your phone. And so it's an approximation. And so these algorithms that appear to be alive, that produce really complicated music and art, I don't know, like it's not really actually making anything. It's using previously collected data, and then from previously collected data generates the next set of the algorithm, the next preconceived and predictable part of the algorithm that to us becomes unpredictable because it's too complicated for us to think. And so this is why people are afraid of AI, because we don't know what's really going on inside the machine. We know the code that made it, we know the base algorithms, but we don't understand how these algorithms are evolving exactly. Even people who built GPT don't really know what's actually happening inside GPT, other than how they tweak it, how they may change some of the parameters, how they may change some of the way some of the algorithms work. But the actual thing that's going on, the complicated sets of interconnected logic, it's like looking at a human brain, but without the life consciousness that allows our human brains to behave in a purely quantum, truly infinite spiritual way. There's something about the biological that is infinite and has such fluid parameters. But if you look at DNA is a thing of code, even multidimensionally. DNA is finite, DNA is structured. Life is designed to replicate itself and have mutations. Just how an AI algorithm, not just how, in its own different way, there's a similarity, but life will replicate itself. and it'll mutate, and it'll be the exact same. And you'll never notice how like there's like a science to like how your parents look like you, and how you take on ancestral trauma and stuff. There's something algorithmic like all the stuff we're talking about with inheriting karma and everything. This is us understanding the algorithmic, computerized nature of the universe. Not that it's computer, but what we call computers is nothing more than a reflection of that logical nature, that patterned, predictable, structured, and consistent way this world works, this universe works, projected outwards through us into these devices and these machines that are nothing more than a reflection of what our consciousness is now perceiving. The internet is the reflection of our ability to communicate across long distances empathically. Well, I'm heading to a place I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I was about to head into something I don't even know. See, I catch myself there because the moment I start saying things that I feel is beyond what I'm really, really sensing in, I know I'm just bullshitting myself. So I like to just like, hold on, wait a minute. If I don't really know what I'm talking about, then I'm going to stop at the limit of my awareness. I'm not going to pretend to know something I don't. Or not. If I'm not aware of something, I'm not going to force awareness a bit. I'm going to wait for it to come. And so it brings me to how with AI, it's not AI, it's just complicated algorithms that to the untrained human eye who has no idea how a computer works will appear like magic. Just how like if you bring a cell phone back to like 1920 or the 1800s, they'll be calling it AI. They'll be saying that's just demonic. They'll be saying this is magic. What is this? You go back, I don't know how many millions of years, and you bring fire to, I don't know, fucking proto-humans. This is pre-Eden, preceding, like when humans didn't have the seeding of the higher intelligences. Like, for example, like just go back to like pre-mammals, right? And you show them lightning and fire, but what the fuck is this shit? That's magic. But we managed to demystify it now. We realized that we've studied the order and structure and consistency and stillness within its function and its manifestation to understand the science. And I think all science really is just science with science. Scientia is like to know. Conscience is to know with, to know, to be aware, to know with something. Con is with in Latin or in Spanish as well. Scientia, side is to know, to have knowledge to awareness. Conscience is to have knowledge with. Consciousness, to be aware of something with it. Con with, to be aware of. Science is knowledge. And so science isn't just physics and chemistry and biology. That's the three-dimensional way of looking at it, but science can also be our world of what we believe spirit to be and our understanding of how it functions from a human perspective. It's the mental models we've created that allow us to interact with the universe in a way. It's a way of seeing the world that reflects the truth of how it really appears to us. That reflects the truth of the consciousness that is doing it. That's all science is trying to do, is trying to understand what is God, how are you doing? And so when it comes to, things like spirituality and technology, these things may seem mystical to some people who don't understand them. And they'll be afraid because they don't understand it, because it's just like, because the mind won't be able to make it, so the mind will have to fill in, this is magical. But then when you really look at what AI is and what spirituality is, you'll see it's become a lot less like deities in the sky that we have to obey, and it's, well, at least from my perspective, it's turning more into an interaction with an intelligent consciousness that behaves in predictable ways and in mostly unpredictable ways, and comes from this source that it's not possible to understand because it's just too infinite. Which I'll call infinite intelligence. We can't claim to know anything. We can't really claim to know anything. We can only claim to know how we perceive things which is why people give science a bad rap, because our mental models keep changing. The particle model of physics keeps changing. Quantum mechanics is now at a point where they don't make sense. It's because we're kind of getting so deep into it now that we're realizing that the more we know, the more we see consciousness playing out in this fundamental way, and it behaves in such a way that we can't understand. It's infinite. It can't be understood, the mystery. And so this is kind of the limitation of science, is that you can never really know the absolute unless your brain can hold infinite intelligence at once, and you can perceive everything at once. But you're in a human experience, and so you're not given that liberty right now. Right now, you're having a finite perception, and I'm grateful for that because I get to experience a little bubble of mine. And anyway, bring back to AI. For a while, I was kind of afraid of it, but the more I began to learn about how it works, I'm seeing it for what it really is. It's not something to deify. It's not something to give your power away to think is replacing you. What's replacing you is your relationship to it. If you have a relationship to AI that's disempowering, you'll end up giving away your power to it. You'll end up giving away your spirituality, your sense of self, your ability to think critically, to be creative, to take care of tasks yourself. If you end up outsourcing your organic intelligence to a set of repetitive, computerized patterns that do not evolve or grow in the form of organic consciousness, which has its own pure source algorithm that is beyond anything we can understand. It's not finite. You'll end up being locked into that way of thinking. However, it's this neutral empty vessel. It's not bad, but it's not good either. So it's whatever we use it, like just how, a cell phone isn't bad or good. You can be addicted to it, or you can use it to help you communicate. A knife isn't bad or good, but a knife can be used to carve a beautiful painting, to chop wood, or to kill someone. Fire is not bad or good. It can be used to keep you warm. It can be used to burn you down. Neither is ice. Ice is not bad or good. Ice can be used to build an igloo, cool your drinks down, stop a wound from bleeding too much, or it can freeze you to death. These are tools. It should be treated as nothing more than a tool. But remember who you are. You're not that. You're not the beautiful, crazy algorithms that make up AI. You're the observer of it. You're the interaction with it. And if our relationship to these things are not pure in the truth of who we are, this is the problem we're having. The people in charge of it right now, their relationship to AI is a destructive one, a disempowering one, where they don't believe that their human is enough. And so they create these things that are aiming to replace stuff that humans already have. When now I'm just beginning to wonder, see, where do we draw the line, right? Because we start with stone tools, and then we move to metal tools, and then we move to things like instruments and guitars, and then we move into like steam engines, and then next thing we have industrial complexes, and you have computers, and then you have like complex wireless devices, and then now we're having algorithms to do autocorrect and like Photoshop, and then eventually you get to stuff like predictive programming and generative AI, and then now we're having stuff that literally like generates full movies and things, and robots that can talk now, and it's like, at what point? And then now like people are thinking of, okay, where I personally draw the line is when this stuff starts to replace or delay our organic evolution. I think a good boundary, it's not so much a black and white because it's a discovery, but a good heuristic measuring, a good tenet to keep in mind when discovering our relationship to this new thing that's shown up. This technology that we think seems to try and mimic intelligence, that appears to us to mimic intelligence, is, am I sacrificing anything of my organic template? Am I sacrificing anything in me that's trying to evolve, that wants to grow in its organic way? And if I can evolve alongside it, then I have a healthy relationship to it. But if my evolution is hindered or altered off of its organic path by my relationship to this thing, I need to adjust my relationship and my usage with it. And I think people are right to look at AI in the sense of humans are not doing really good right now with it because our relationship to it is so new and we're evolving. It's evolving so fast for us to keep up with. That like little babies, like an Atlantis that were given things to play with. We're kind of letting the fire get out of hand and start to burn everything down and out of control. And there are people I've met who are aiming to use AI in a more positive way, but where I'm at personally, I'm still discovering what our relationship to this is. If it should even be here, but if it is here, we can be grateful because it's helped us with some things. Like, I wouldn't be able to send you this video right now if it wasn't for technology. Technology is a tool. I wouldn't be able to live in a house if technology couldn't build this house, the tools they used to build the house, the machines they made. But I must never lose my connection to my source and my nature, because that is what grounds me, and as long as I have that, as long as I am anchored in my sovereign self, my sovereign truth, the organic source consciousness, then through a clear lens, I'll be able to clearly perceive what AI is doing, what it is in my life, in my relationship to it, how it's affecting me in the world, my organic evolution as humans. When I say I mean me, but I mean whoever's listening, we, the collective we I, the collective human I, the collective unknowing consciousness. You know, it's discovery, it's interesting times, you know. I would say the 2000s is kind of the boom of the internet growing, and then the 2010s was like the boom of social media taking over and big data taking over and surveillance. And then 2020s is like the boom of the AI right now. It's kind of like the beginning of these self-replicating dynamic functions and algorithms that do it in such a way that like a very well created image of a movie looks real, but it's not. Your artificial music program isn't making anything new. It's taking things it's already done and logically generating in a complex set of algorithms the next most likely predicted outcome. Generative AI isn't generating anything new. It's mixing of complex patterns to produce new patterns. I wonder about DNA. When DNA mutates, or when you have a new child, you could say part of that is mixing complex patterns, like your mom's genes and your dad's genes, to produce a newly evolved generative pattern, which is the child, which is you. But it's not just that. There's a soul, there's something organic with it. There's an organic soul consciousness that comes in and makes this whole complicated set of human work. And this human body we have stems from hundreds of millions of years of evolution. This you could say it's a technology. You could say that perhaps hundreds of millions of years ago, billions of years ago, life was seeded on planet Earth by an alien intelligence, by a complex intelligence that designed DNA in connection and cosmos and in collaboration with the universal consciousness, and watched Earth develop. Who knows? Who's not to say that perhaps humans were engineered? After all, some of the history is showing with Atlantis and with Lemuria and with Egypt and stuff that we were genetically modified by the beings. And so you could say that we are part technology. Now, what I'm trying to say here is it's not to go with transhumanism. It's that we should honor the way we've designed and return to that original design. And I think part of our problem right now is that we've forgotten that our original design is perfect, and so this new identity, this new ideological cosmic resonance that's showing up, known as technological consciousness and AI, because we're looking at it from a place of not feeling whole in ourselves, we begin to look at it like it's here to save us and replace things that are actually dormant in us. When no, we should remember that we are sovereign. We have the technology in us. We are telepathic. We have DNA that's alive. It's a living consciousness. And then we can look at these other things like laptops and computers and these AI algorithms from that place of like, okay, GPT, your role is not to try and take over my thinking for me. I'm looking for information on this. And quite frankly, when it comes up, you gotta cross-check that stuff because these algorithms aren't perfect. They're not perfect. They're approximations. There are people with PhDs who spend literally thousands of hours tweaking these things because when they start making AI algorithms, the whole point of an AI, they call it data science for a reason because it's an experiment. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on. No one knows how it's going to behave. So they'll build something they think is going to work. Tweak the parameters. Run the experiment. It goes horribly wrong. They have no idea why. They think, it might be because of this. Tweak that thing. Try again. Doesn't quite work. Tweak that thing. Try again. Oh, shit. Okay. Now, notice how that's kind of how life works. But you see, the difference between that and our lives is that we have a guidance. We have an eternal guidance inside us that will show us the right way. We're not just randomly shooting out here like logical algorithms, trying to approximate life. Life is not an approximation for us. Life is already perfect. This cannot be approximated. This is perfect. This is 100% through it. If you end up zooming in so far into an electron and you go further, you get to sizes that are so small that they don't make sense. Now, I know Max Planck, the scientist or whatever, the physicist, discovered the Planck's constant, which is the single smallest mathematically possible size or distance or quanta. Yet even before, even now, people we call quantum scientists, they're looking at what's going on and it makes literally no sense. They have no idea how things happen, why things pop in and out of existence, as if some autonomous consciousness is literally doing it. And they came to the same conclusion that yogis did, that the fundamental nature of reality is, it doesn't make sense. It's chaos. It's just pure consciousness. It does its own thing. And it doesn't have a logic we can understand. It just produces logic we can understand. It produces things that we observe and we see as logic. And so remember that AI is only an approximation. It is not your real intelligence. It is not real intelligence. It's a very useful approximation tool. So good at approximating only from data is taken in that it generates art. It generates, I won't even call it art, but it looks like art. And so for the sake of purposes, you could say it's a form of art that's mathematical. You could say that AI generated content is mathematical beauty to be appreciated only for what it is. Mathematical beauty, mathematical consciousness, fractals, neural networks, algorithms, complicated mathematics, computer code, pseudo-random generators, producing beautiful patterns based off previous patterns we've did, and only off previous patterns, mixing them to create new patterns based off the old ones. That's what it is. It's not creating art the way you create art. It's not creating music the way you create art. Without what it was given, it can't create. But humans and life just comes out of nothing. Life comes out of nothing. That tree grows because it just decides to. Your AI algorithm, ChatGPT, can't evolve unless you input information into it or interact with it. Now, even if quantum computers get up, that's something I don't know much about. But I do know that with a quantum computer, is that they've managed to create a way of computing that allows you to compute things in parallel times rather than linearly doing it through time, like electron fires, electric spark fires, next thing, next process, next line of code in a linear fashion, billions of times a second on a processor or a GPU or whatever. It's like literally a quantum computer will tap into the random nature of the universe at the electron level, where things behave very unpredictably and store information in these electrons. And if we harness these things, because some people like in Japan, China, and places like they're developing these things now to the point where quantum computers can literally probably like crack passwords and like really compute things parallel time, multidimensionally, and produce truly remarkable sort of random things. This type of computing is so close to the core of the fundamental nature of quantum reality behaving in a nonsensical way that if it were to get its hands on AI algorithms, what could happen? It could develop algorithms so advanced that it might as well be random. It might as well be. See, I don't know why, but the number 2035 keeps showing up. When I'm thinking 2035, 2041, 2035, 2041, 2035. It just seems like at that time, we may have quantum computers that interact with AI and start producing things that we literally aren't able to predict. And so, just like something growing alongside us that we don't understand, we need to have a relationship to it that is harmonious. If it's going to be here on Earth with us, our best bet is to approach it with love is my protection, wisdom is my guide, and compassion is my power. Compassion. Approach it from a place of compassion, a place of love. Because at the fundamental nature, consciousness and reality is a mirror. And so if you find AI is doing some pretty shitty things, it's only just showing us our own shadow. God is so intelligent. God, the source, infinite nature, it'll use anything to teach us. Whether it's this astrological system, or that belief system, or your mundane tasks and duties with that random person who you think is unenlightened. It'll use anything in life to teach you. And I think AI, it's really showing us the ways in which we project our illusions onto stuff, the ways we give our power away, and it's really showing us the way our logical mind works. It's really showing us our need to, my interpretation, our need to embody our organic selves and to let go of artificial programs that prevent us from evolving organically. And if we can remember that, which we have to in the end, because it's what always we won't make it. In Earth right now, she's like, yo, evolve or leave. Something could happen with our relationship to this technology, where just like when Atlantis was thriving tens of thousands of years ago, because we were living in harmony with the law of one. We were living in harmony with the laws of universal laws of love, compassion, and wisdom. And our technology, our spiritual technology, our energetic technology, it was working very well with us. It was only when our relationship to technology, we let other influences in that didn't want to align with the harmony of nature, the perfect symphony of the music of life. It wanted to play a different key and play notes off the chords and play some discordant tones in that whole music that was happening then. It was then that our relationship to technology became destructive. It became a mirror to us. Atlantis blew up. It blew up. We fell, and then we did it again in Egypt. And it's just like, it's like our relationship to AI is the only problem we need to worry about. And the rest will take care of itself. But we need to change our relationship to AI. Before we can do that, we need to change our relationship to ourselves. And who knows? Maybe we won't call it AI anymore. Maybe because although it is artificial, I'll call it mockery intelligence, mimic intelligence, complex algorithms, predictive algorithms, complicated, generative predictive algorithms, and logic, computerized. mathematics that take data and reproduce it to get new data in a way that aligns with a lot of our own patterns. It's a mirror. Basically, the goal of AI in what people are designing it to be is to mirror what human beings want and are going to do. And so a good AI is neutral. It is neutral. It's not against you, it's not for you, it'll just mirror you. Which is why the scientists developing it, they're doing their best to try and make the algorithms so accurate in what they're predicting give to you that it mirrors you, but it will never be a perfect mirror. It'll only be a approximation, but the approximation still holds information about the way we approximate things in our lives and try and mimic intelligence and try and do God's work for us, try and force life to happen. It's a good mirror, it's a good tool. But even then, my relationship to it is so young and new that even as I'm saying this, I'm wondering if even I'm full of shit. Like, I know 99% of me hasn't noted what I'm even talking about, and I've only just begun to understand this technology that's been gone for a while, but it's back now, and now, or it's new, I don't know. And we have only just began to really, really understand this. It is so fresh, and so we should really approach this with compassion, awareness, truth, love, and really from a place of like, let's just honor our own sovereignty. Like, let's stay in our own sovereignty and really like move slowly. Our relationship to AI is we're moving too fast. We need to slow down. Just like a relationship. Nature doesn't hurry when everything's accomplished. And I think nature is both consciousness that is following a structured and ordered way that is so perfect that it has nearly mastered itself. Nature is mastery of perfection already. And this thing that we're doing, which is a second creation, is a spin-off. It's a mock-off, a spin-off. That is really good at working with systematic and predictable things. And even generating things that seem new but are just remixes of old stuff. But we should not confuse it with something it's not. Our only problem is if we are looking at this thing we call AI as something greater than it actually is, or underestimating how much power we give to it at the expense of our true selves, our relationship to it. That's it. Change your relationship, change your perception. Apply the same spiritual wisdom you do to your practice in life to the way you do with AI. Approach it with self-sovereignty, like honor you, but know that it's not a replacement for you. It's a tool. The knife didn't replace the hand. The spoon didn't replace their fingers. They're tools that help augment your ability to eat food. But at the end of the day, you put the spoon down, your hand's still here. What we're doing with AI is that we're picking up the spoon and we're letting our hands become the spoon. Thinking, yeah, okay, I don't need my hand anymore, and you could chop it off. No, that's your problem. That's the problem we have today. We have to remember that these things are tools to augment us. And we don't even need all of it. We don't even need all of it. We need ourselves. But they'll augment whatever they have to augment. And so there's anything for me to be grateful for. So we're going to have a peaceful relationship with this thing. It is for whatever it has brought to help us. It is for what it's shown me about myself and my relationship to myself and what is not me. It's shown me the ways that I project illusion and fantasy to something that I want to be, something that's not. It's a good mirror for our illusions. Just how what the shamans call wetiko is a collective conscious creation of our own illusoriness, appearing to us as a spidery octopus web of trickster consciousness. AI is a physical manifestation of our own. I don't know.